The greatest mistake you can make in the modern world is letting people know where you stand, what you think, and what your next move will be. We live in an era of hyperexpression, where people feel a desperate need to broadcast their plans, their achievements, and their pain to the entire world. But in the shadows of human behavior, visibility is a liability. The moment your intentions are known, you become targetable. The moment you react emotionally to a provocation, you hand over the keys to your mental fortress. The most lethal minds don't broadcast. They practice what psychology calls strategic detachment. They operate like ghosts, highly observant, deeply calculated, and completely disconnected from the emotional noise surrounding them. In this video, we are going to decode the power of strategic detachment. We will uncover 5 cold laws of moving in silence that will transform you from a predictable player into the unseen architect of your own destiny. Part 1, The Law of Concealed Intentions, the Fog Mind. Most people fail to achieve their goals not because they lack talent, but because they talk too much. When you announce your plans, your brain receives a premature dopamine hit, making you feel like you've already succeeded. Worse, you alert your competitors. The silent genius operates under a permanent fog. You don't tell people what you are going to do, you simply show them the results once it is already done. When you hide your intentions, people cannot prepare a defense. They cannot manipulate your path because they don't know your destination. Let them think you are doing nothing. Let them assume you are failing or stagnant. Your irrelevance in their eyes is your greatest camouflage. While they are busy celebrating their noisy, minor victories, you are quietly constructing an absolute checkmate. Part 2, Emotional Disconnection, the Ice Armor. In any social interaction, the person who cares the least holds the most power. This isn't about being cruel, it is about absolute emotional sovereignty. When someone insults you, betrays you, or tries to provoke you, their goal is to trigger an chaotic reaction. They want to pull you into their muddy waters. If you get angry, they win. If you look desperate to defend your reputation, they win. Strategic detachment means looking at chaos through a sheet of ice. You observe the provocation clinically, as a scientist watches a chemical reaction. You do not absorb it. Your lack of an emotional reaction will drive your opponents insane. It signals to them that they do not possess the psychological clearance to disturb your peace. When you become unshakable, you become untouchable. Part 3, The Power of Withdrawal, the Value Vacuum. We are taught that to be valued, we must always be present. We must answer every call, attend every event, and always be available. This is a severe psychological illusion. Constant presence breeds familiarity, and familiarity breeds contempt. The strategic mind understands the value of scarcity. When you suddenly withdraw your presence, your attention, and your words from an environment that takes you for granted, you create a psychological vacuum. Suddenly, people are forced to confront the cold reality of your absence. They begin to realize the weight of what you brought to the table. Do not waste your energy fighting for a seat at a table where your presence isn't respected. Simply stand up, walk away in absolute silence, and let the silence teach them the lesson your words never could. Part 4, Analytical Observation, the Camera Lens. When you are deeply involved in an emotional situation, you are blind. You cannot see the traps, the hidden motives, or the shifting dynamics because your ego is driving the vehicle. To practice detachment, you must mentally step outside of your own body. Imagine yourself as a security camera in the corner of the room, viewing yourself and others with absolute neutrality. This shifts your brain from reactive mode to analytical mode. You start seeing why people are acting the way they do, you spot their underlying insecurities, their tactical blunders, and their hidden agendas. While everyone else is playing the game emotionally, you are reading the entire board structurally. He who sees the patterns controls the outcome. Part 5, Independent Reality, the Sovereign Mind. The masses are psychological chameleons. They absorb the anxiety of the media, the panic of the crowd, and the low-vibration opinions of their social circles. They don't own their minds, they borrow them from the environment. Strategic detachment is the ultimate declaration of a sovereign reality. You do not let external events dictate your internal state. If the room is panicking, you remain calm. If the crowd is celebrating blindly, you remain critical. You build your own fortress of logic, data, and quiet focus. This independence makes you an anchor in a storm. People will naturally flock to your stability because they are drowning in their own emotional chaos. You do not follow the world, you let the world adjust to your silence. Outro. True strength is never loud. It doesn't need to scream, prove itself, or seek validation from the gallery. The storm is powerful, but the center of the storm is completely still. Be the center. Move in silence, protect your energy, and master the art of letting go of what you cannot control. Before you leave the library today, tell me in the comments, have you ever won a situation simply by choosing not to react? If this analytical journey brought clarity to your strategic mind, leave a like, subscribe to Silent Genius, and continue to build your empire in absolute quiet.